You already know what's wrong. That's the weird part. You've known for a while. It's not hidden. It's not complicated. It's just sitting there. And you look at it, and then you look away. And then you open your phone. And then you look away again. Most unhappiness isn't mysterious. It's just unacknowledged. There's something about playing Minecraft that I find hard to explain to people who don't play it. Like, nothing is really happening. You're just walking around. Mining, maybe building something that doesn't matter, maybe not even that. And yet there's this weird sense of okayness, like your brain just quietly exhales. And I've been thinking about why that is. Because it's not the game, exactly. It's not the blocks. It's something about what the game doesn't do to you. It doesn't demand you perform. It doesn't show you how well everyone else is doing. It doesn't notify you. It doesn't compare you to anyone. It just lets you be somewhere. And the fact that that feels rare, the fact that just being somewhere without pressure feels like a relief, that says something pretty uncomfortable about how we live now. Here's the thing about unhappiness that I think gets missed a lot. People treat it like a puzzle. Like there's a missing piece, and if you just figure out what it is, you'll be fine. More money, maybe. A better relationship. A job that doesn't drain you. A body that looks different. And sometimes those things genuinely help. I'm not going to sit here and pretend material stuff doesn't matter. But most people I know who got the thing they wanted, they felt better for a while. And then the feeling faded. And then they were looking for the next thing. And somewhere in that cycle, they stopped asking why the cycle exists in the first place. Which is strange when you think about it. We're incredibly good at solving problems. Humans are problem-solving machines, but we're surprisingly bad at noticing when we're solving the wrong problem. I think a lot of modern unhappiness comes from a very specific source, and it's not depression or anxiety or any clinical thing, though those are real. It's simpler than that. It's the gap between what you're doing and what you actually want. Not what you say you want, not what you post about, what you actually, quietly, genuinely want when nobody's watching and there's no performance involved. Most people have no idea what that is anymore. Not because they're broken, but because they've been so consistently pointed outward toward other people's opinions, other people's timelines, other people's versions of a good life, that they've lost the habit of checking inward. And the gap I'm talking about between the performed life and the actual one, that gap is where the unhappiness lies. Let me try to describe what I mean more concretely, because I think this is easy to nod along to and hard to actually feel. Imagine someone, doesn't have to be you, just some person waking up on a Saturday, no obligations. They've got the whole day. And instead of doing the thing they actually want to do, they spend the first 2 hours scrolling, not because they're enjoying it exactly, but because starting the real thing feels heavy. It feels like it matters too much. If they actually sit down and work on the thing they care about and it goes badly, that means something. Whereas scrolling can't fail, so they scroll and the day passes. And by evening, there's this low-level feeling they can't quite name. Not sadness, not boredom, something more like static. Bro, I've had that exact day more times than I'd like to admit. And the weird part isn't the scrolling. The weird part is the avoidance. The thing they were avoiding was the thing they actually wanted. They were protecting themselves from their own life. This is where I think most self-help stuff gets it wrong, by the way. It identifies the symptom and then tries to treat the symptom. Just do the hard thing. Just be disciplined. Just stop scrolling. Just get up earlier. And like, okay, that's not wrong. But it skips over the part where you ask why the avoidance is happening in the first place. Because if you're consistently running away from your own life, that's not a productivity problem. That's a relationship problem. You have a bad relationship with your own existence. You don't fully trust it. You're not sure it's safe to actually be in it. And no amount of habit stacking fixes that. Actually, I want to take a small detour here because I think there's something interesting about where this distrust comes from. We grew up, a lot of us, in systems that were constantly evaluated evaluating us. School, social media, career stuff, even families, sometimes without meaning to. And those systems trained us to see ourselves through a specific lens. How am I doing relative to the standard? Am I performing well? Am I behind? Am I enough? And that's fine to a point. Some external feedback is useful. But after years of that, a lot of people genuinely don't know how to just be somewhere without evaluating the experience, without rating, without asking if it's going well. The pure, dumb experience of just existing in a moment, just walking through trees, just noticing the light, just sitting quietly, starts to feel almost suspicious, like it doesn't count. Which is maybe why a game where you just walk around and mine stuff feels so strangely good. It's one of the few places where there's no metric, nothing to be bad at, nothing to post. Nobody is judging your ore collection. Okay, so the simple reason. I keep saying the reason you're unhappy is actually simple, and I want to actually say what I mean by that before this gets too abstract. I think most unhappiness, the kind that isn't circumstantial, the kind that follows you even when things are fine, comes from not living a life that feels like yours. That sounds obvious. It sounds like something a poster in a dentist's office would say, but sit with it for a second. Not a life you've optimized, not a life that looks good from the outside, not a life you defend in an argument, a life that, when you're alone and quiet, feels like it's actually connected to something true about who you are. Most people have never tried to figure out what that would even look like. Not seriously. Not past the vague sense that it would involve being happy or comfortable or successful or whatever. And the ones who have tried often get scared off quickly, because when you actually look at it, when you actually ask what you'd do with your one life if nobody was watching, the answer is usually inconvenient. It doesn't align perfectly with what you've already built. It requires changing something, admitting something. So people don't ask, or they ask and then quietly drop it. Here's something I think about sometimes. There's a version of you, I don't know how old, some younger version, who had a pretty clear sense of what they liked. Not in a profound way, just like, this thing is interesting and this thing is boring. That version of you hadn't learned yet to perform preferences. They just had them. At some point, for most people, that starts to erode, not dramatically, just slowly. You learn what preferences are acceptable. You learn what enthusiasm makes people uncomfortable. You learn which parts of yourself are safe to show, and you start trimming and editing. And after a while, you're not totally sure which preferences are yours and which ones you adopted because they made life easier. And the weird thing is, it's not anyone's fault. Not really. This is just what happens when you're a social creature living around other social creatures who also have preferences and opinions and the ability to judge you. But the cost of it, the quiet, ongoing cost, is that you lose contact with your own interior. You're living in a slightly distanced way from yourself, and you feel it, kind of. You feel it as vague dissatisfaction, as the sense that something's off, but you can't name it. And that's the gap. That's the static. Guys, I realize this might sound kind of heavy for a Minecraft video, and honestly, I'm not sure I'm saying it exactly right. There's something I'm trying to point at, and I keep circling it. Let me try one more angle. I think the reason happiness feels so complicated is because we've overcomplicated the question of what it even is. There's a whole industry around it. Happiness has become this enormous project you're supposed to optimize. Track your sleep. Meditate for exactly 12 minutes. Eat these specific things. Build a morning routine. Journal with this specific prompt. Have the right relationships but maintain proper boundaries. And I'm not mocking any of that. Some of it is genuinely useful. But somewhere in all that optimization, the actual experience of happiness gets kind of lost. Because happiness, most of the time, isn't a project. It's a byproduct. It shows up when you're doing something that feels like it's actually you without needing it to produce anything. Without needing anyone to see it. Without calculating the return of it. It's the thing you do at 11 p.m. when you're a little tired, and you should probably sleep, but you keep going because it's genuinely interesting to you, that thing. That's the thread. Most people have that thread somewhere. They just don't follow it because following it feels irresponsible or impractical or childish or like it'll go nowhere. And maybe maybe it will go nowhere. I don't know. I can't promise you the thing you actually care about will translate into a career or money or anything practical. But I'd argue that not following it at all, just suppressing it indefinitely because it's inconvenient, is the thing that creates that particular flavor of hollow that a lot of people carry around. You can be very successful and feel hollow. That's real. That happens because the hollowness isn't about outcome. It's about whether the life you're living feels like it belongs to you. I keep coming back to this Minecraft thing because there's something in it that I think is worth taking literally, not just metaphorically. When you play Minecraft, especially in survival mode early on, you have very limited resources and a lot of open time and no one telling you what to build. And the game doesn't judge what you build. You can make something beautiful or you can make a dirt box and neither outcome is tracked anywhere. The only reason to make something good is that you want to. And I think that condition, doing something purely because you find it interesting with no external validation in the loop, is something most adults almost never experience. We've outsourced our sense of whether something was worth doing to metrics, views, likes, revenue grades, feedback. And when you're always checking whether the thing you did was good by looking at how other people responded, you're never just in the thing. You're always watching it from outside. I don't have a clean solution to any of this, just so you know. I don't think there's a morning routine that fixes it. I don't think it's solvable the way problems are solvable. I think it's more like a practice, a habit of checking back in. Asking the embarrassing question, is this actually what I want? Or is this what I think I should want? And asking it honestly enough that the answer has room to be inconvenient, because the honest answer is usually inconvenient. That's almost how you know it's the honest one. The reason you're unhappy, if you are, and I don't know if you are, I'm just saying if, is probably not the thing you think it is. It's probably not the job exactly, or the relationship, or the money, or the way you look. Those things matter, but they're usually symptoms. The thing underneath the symptoms is usually something quieter. Something like, I'm not sure this life is mine. I'm not sure I'm living it on purpose. I'm not sure the version of me that shows up every day is the real one, or a useful performance of one. And that's fixable, not overnight, not with a list, but fixable in the sense that you can start paying attention to it. Start asking the question. Start following the thread, even just a little bit, even just enough to know what direction it goes. That's probably enough for now. I'm going to keep walking around in this game for a while. There's something peaceful about it. Think about it though.